Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. It's Bear here. And I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, The Box of No Lid. A channel I'm creating not only to just bring awareness to the day-to-day realities trauma creates, but also to delve into its mechanisms and to teach ways and discover ways to truly improve the quality of our lives and to heal. Now, in this video, anybody who knows me, when I'm asked around, ways to work with or support healing trauma, the first place I always go is your digestive system. And that's, of course, what this video is about. I have raised it in other videos briefly, but I want to go into a little bit more detail as to why. Now, our digestive system plays such a critical role in not only our day-to-day health and our day-to-day functionality, but also how we feel and how exacerbated our responses to trauma are. There are more sensory neurons in the digestive system than pretty much anywhere else in our body, including our brain. Yeah, there are some schools that say they're similar. But in a lot of the studies that I've read, there are really more sensory neurons, more active parts that can sense an environment or sense surroundings in our digestive system than there are even in our brain. And this sensory aspect is external as well as internal. By what we consume and what our body is exposed to makes its way into our digestive system in one form or another, either through consumption, inhalation, or absorption. And our digestive system constantly assesses everything that's passing through to gauge what the environment around us is. Is it safe? Is it secure? Is there enough food? Are there enough water? Is there enough, all the resources and nutrients we need to not only function, but to prosper, to grow, to repair, and to renew? Our digestive system also assesses, through all the secretions coming from our internal organs, our own health and what's going on within our own body. Our digestive system is an ecology within itself. There is a bacteria ecology critical to our survival. I know some people get icked out thinking that there's, billions of, little tiny critters crawling around inside you, but we need them. And yes, like in all ecologies, there's good and there's bad. There are ones that we need and ones that we kind of really don't. And this is part of the maintaining of a healthy digestive system for that part of health. But there's other areas in our digestive system that people don't really know. The majority of our feel-good chemicals, our endorphins, and things that support our endocrine system to feel more on the other side of depression and anxiety, to get onto the other side of depression and anxiety, are produced by our digestive system and our gut and the bacteria that is within them. So we need to have a healthy digestive system to be able to have a sense of well-being. We also need to have a healthy digestive system to be able to work with altering the physiology of the ecologies around us, how our interactions are, and what we can interact with that supports our healing, that supports our well-being and our, resolving what we've been through. Another key component of our digestive system, and this one I have mentioned in previous videos, is it is a key component to creating a counter-argument to our autonomic threat response systems by simply graze eating. I'm not talking overeating, I'm not talking any of this stuff, graze eating, little bits often, healthy little bits often, sends a constant signal to our autonomic defense systems, all our threat response systems, that we're not in immediate danger. Because if you were facing off against a predator, you're not going to stop and eat. And if we do that often enough and continuous enough, it starts to create the negotiational aspect of our healing from trauma. So as you can see, there are so many facets to why we need to have a healthy digestive system. There are so many different facets that we can do in our day-to-day lives, and I'll list some here, that can become so normal, so normalized in our life that they don't become a chore. Like, I know when we live with complex trauma, so much of what we need to do takes up so much time in our day that we don't have the resources to do everything we need to do. And as anybody knows, when you're battling with traumatic experiences, particularly trauma, early childhood stuff that's been around a long time, to get through even what people consider as a normal list of daily tasks takes sometimes everything we have. This is why what I've tried to find, what I do to support myself in this, needs to be as much a part of my day-to-day functionality, not a whole list of things that I have to fulfill. And to do that, that's why I always go back to the old way of doing things, the old world. Anybody who knows me, if it's under 1,000 years old, it's too new for me. Because so much has been tainted and turned into an agenda. If we go back over 1,000 years, particularly with what we consume in the herbal medicines and everything else, we get a far better insight into what they are and what they do. And when you look at herbal support, in the old way, it was part of your diet. It was part of your day-to-day. It's not going to get a jar of pills. These are the herbs that you cook with. These are the herbs that you drink in your teas. These are the herbs that you take, burn, or bathe in. These are the things that we use, the minerals that we consume in our day-to-day, everyday lives as part of our 3 to 5 meals a day. If you're eating to support your digestive system through trauma, I suggest breaking a normal 3 meal a day into 5 or 6. Same portion size, just smaller, spread out. It's a little easier for your digestive system, and it increases that autonomic, signaling that you're not under threat. It's not doing the peak trough, peak trough, peak trough. It's this constant support process throughout your day. And it helps also, as I know with all of us, when we're going through those harder times, the last thing we want to do is eat. And it helps to push through that. Now, there is another key component to the reasons why supporting your digestive system is key. And that is, the importance of graze eating, even when it's the last thing you feel like you're going to do. And if you bring it up, if you throw it up, you throw it up. Doesn't matter. It's still sending that signal. It's still getting the body to assess your environment now, not what was triggered from the past. And that is to counter our survival state. All of us who have lived through complex trauma, we live pretty much permanently in a state of survival. And it takes a long time to learn how to not live in that state and function in that state. And it takes so many different inputs to be able to give the body what it needs, what it requires, what we require, to not be in a constant survival state. And food consumption is a part of that. And I'm not talking eating a whole bunch of crap and becoming morbidly obese. That is not what I'm saying. We need health. If we eat toxic food, if we eat over-processed stuff, if we eat things that we all know we shouldn't, we are actually adding to our threat response levels because our body treats it as a threat, not as something supportive. I'm talking healthy foods. I'm talking real foods. As much as from the farm as you can get, as much as not from a packet as you can get. Cooking and growing your own is awesome, also an excellent activity that supports. Getting back to what your ancestors ate, the types of food that you're, epigenetically designed to consume, in quantities that match your physical activity. If you do a lot of physical activity, you eat more. If you do less physical activity, regardless of the reasons, you consume less. And you spread that food consumption out over your day. Helps to support the body to stay out of survival. Or at least feed the argument that we need to create those two camps, to be able to titrate between, to start opening the gray areas of negotiation with ourselves. Now, there are many ways to look at supporting a digestive system, and there are many ways and things and products you could use. But my recommendation is go as old world as possible, as simple as possible. You don't need to spend a fortune, and most of us can't afford to spend a fortune. So just do it in your day-to-day. On the detox aspect, don't do these highly complex that put the body under stress detoxes. Do a simple green tea. Do dandelion root teas. Do these things that you can grow yourself, you can get access to yourself. For yourself really easily and really cheaply. White pine needle tea is awesome. The older cultures, there are so many forms of different teas that are consumed every day as part of a daily life. Those are what we go to. And go more towards your own genetic ancestry. And, the Chinese medicine herbal teas are awesome. But if you're not of an Asian descent, they can be. Some of those teas can get a little harder because our body is not used to them. But we can find equivalents in every culture and every country. So go look at how your great-grandmothers used to live and what they used to do. And that's an excellent place to start. And they've been around so long, so the chances of contraindications and issues are very, very negligible. Always do your research. And always make the decision, is it right for you? And ask the questions you need to ask. But it is pretty simple to support our digestive system, to help us ground, to help us function a little better, and to help us keep out of survival, and to feel a lot better too, because a lot of the components of how we feel when we're in a triggered state come from our digestive system reacting the way that it is. If we support it, we go a long way to helping ourselves. I will do more videos as we go along on this, because as I said, anybody who knows me, I'm always harping on about supporting our digestive system. So if you have any questions, please email me, please, comment, and I will do my best to answer them, put them into upcoming videos, depending upon the level of them, and I will never divulge personal stuff from individuals on here, or I never do it in my day-to-day. So I thank you guys' support and your comments and questions. Please be mindful, please be kind and considerate, and I'll see you all next time. Hope.